So welcome back. My name is Andrew Georgitsis, and we are looking at going through the series that we call UTD Under the Hood. And with UTD Under the Hood, there's a lot of different chapters. There's chapters about, us being the founders, the co-founders. That's myself and Jeff Seckendorf. It's about things like our background of UTD. What is UTD's background? Where are our mission and our purpose? What about our ethos? What are the 10 covenants, teaching philosophy, education philosophy. We even have the last chapter that you guys just got through, which is the diver. We talk a little bit about you, what characteristics are we looking for. But in today's subject, I want to talk about our favorite saying, end goal in mind. Now, before we jump into that, what I'm going to ask you to do is go back and make sure you go through those previous videos for me, because that'll give you a lot of insight to what I'm about to talk about. And a lot of background information, so that what I'm about to talk about now, starts to gel, starts to click. You start to go, oh, yeah. I see what he's talking about. Okay, so what do we mean by the end goal in mind? So this is a whole way of thinking. Okay? You want to think with the end goal in mind. So what I've seen so far in this diving industry is very basics. You walk into a dive shop, hi, I want to learn to dive. The guy sits you down, or the gal sits you down, teaches you, in 4 days, basically nothing. You can't remember anything. You're scared out of your mind, whatever, it doesn't matter. And you're now certified. And you say, you know what, I want to do this, so let me buy some gear. And they say, you go in the shop and they go, oh, we got blue ones, we got yellow ones, we got pink ones, we got green ones. And you go, yeah, my favorite color is blue. That's what you bought it on, blue. Right? Some of you might say, well, I've been researching the internet and I really want one with, 16,000 bells and whistles, because you don't really know what you want. You don't know what you don't know yet. So you just read that, this marketing hype, jibber jabber, and it's got all these 16 bells and whistles. And the guy in the Scuba shop or Amazon, wherever you buy it, goes, get it for you tomorrow. Boom, delivered to your house. And you try on this poodle jacket and it's up here by your, and you're like, cool, I don't know what I don't know. So then you decide, okay, you know what, I want to take my next set of education. So you say, I want to go to the advanced class. You go waltzing in there and the guy's like, yeah, so that stuff you kind of learned over there, the equipment might work, but you need to be more advanced than you're thinking. So you're like, okay, why did I learn this? Well, that's just what we tell the students. So now if you guys have watched my intro video, you know what I mean. You don't quite do it that way. You don't quite get on your knees to check out your compass. We're going to do compass navigation, and we'd like you to be neutrally buoyant. Now take our neutral buoyancy specialty, and then you can come back and take your advanced class or something, and you're just like, what? Okay, that's not how you do it. Why'd you teach me on my knees in open water class when in my advanced class you don't want me to do, whatever on my knees? Well, actually, we don't really mind if you do it on your knees. Just, it doesn't really matter. You're like, oh my goodness, this is really confusing, but whatever. So then you finish that class and you got your poodle jacket and you got your short hose regulator and all that, and then you decide, oh, you know what, I'm really interested in this. I'm going to give you an example, cave diving. It doesn't matter. I really want to go and take my intro to cave. So you arrive at your intro to cave and they say, okay, you need to be a minimum of, 150 dives or whatever they say. It's not even that much. I think it's 25, but it doesn't matter. And you need to have, your advanced class under your belt. And you're like, I got 25 dives, I'm an advanced diver, check it out. And the guy's like, all right, perfect, come into my class. And he takes a look at your equipment and he goes, yeah, that 16, items that are on the list that you bought BC, that's 16 marketing sale point BC, that's not going to work for cave diving. And you're like, yeah, but I just paid $800 and it's the Seahawk, Nighthawk, Super Hawk from Scuba Pro, whatever brand, doesn't matter how much you have for brand. And you go, yeah, that's not going to work for cave diving. You got to have this. And you go, oh, okay. Don't worry, you can sell it on eBay. And yeah, that's skills that you learned, that stuff you learned where you flutter kicking and, using your hands and, all that kind of stuff and bouncing along the bottom. Yeah, no, it doesn't work in cave diving. You got to drop all of that. You got to go you got to be in this kind of trim. You got to use frog kicks. And you're like, what? So why did I learn that? Well, that's just always the way it's been taught. Yeah. All right. So then you try to abandon all those bad skills, that bad equipment, that bad education, and now you're going to become a cave diver. And you have to unlearn all of that stuff. So you see what I'm saying? That's the traditional way these people do it. We don't do it that way. We start with the end goal in mind. We say, what does the end result look like? Whether it be a piece of equipment, a skill, a protocol, a covenant, whatever it is. Let's just start with the end goal in mind. Well, the end goal for us might be something a lot higher than yours. It doesn't matter. But let's just say, I'm talking about my decompression. Well, I don't really want to do much deeper than 600-foot diving, 180 meters. And I don't really want to do much more bottom time than, maybe 3-4 hours. All right. Well, our entire decompression strategy called Ratio Deco starts and can accomplish that. And that's with our end goal. So we develop a strategy from the beginning, from open water diver, all the way through to that point. And it's one consistent way of doing it. It's called Ratio Deco. See what I'm saying? So something you learned in your open water class where you learned, okay, from 30 meters, your set point is 20 minutes, if on air, or 30 minutes on nitric. It doesn't deviate or change when you're doing the 600-foot dive. We still use the philosophy of set point and blah, 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 blah. I'm making a very simple example, but there was something simple as that. Gas management. Same thing. We don't say, in your open water class, yeah, I'll be on the boat with 500. Don't teach you about consumption rate. Don't teach you about tank volume. Don't teach you about reserving enough gas for an emergency. Don't teach you about the fact that 2 of you may need to air share to come up. Don't teach you about the idea. We just say, be on the boat with 500. So you've got to look at this little thing, the needle's there. And you think, oh, well, I'm at 600, so I'm still safe. Until you have an emergency. Then you're not safe anymore. You see? And then when you get to your highest level of diving, that's when we say, hey, you know what, when you come into cave diving, you need the rule of thirds or whatever the rules are that you're going to be taught. And you're like, but how come I was never told this in open water? Yeah, well, we didn't think you know. And what the difference is, maybe in those agencies, they're geared towards the factory diving. They just want to distill it to the point where you learn nothing, just sell you some books. We're not like that in UTD. We start with the end goal in mind. We say, you are a serious diver who wants to take this as a passion, and you want to take it to the highest level you can, physically, with your own risk factors, your mom, maybe your dad, your son, whatever. The point being is, everybody's different and wants to take us to whatever level they want to go. And as an agency, we always start with that end goal in mind and then work backwards and say, hey, you know what? The frog kick we taught you in open water is the same frog kick you're going to use in your rebreather class or in your cave class or in your rec class or in your kelp class or whatever class or in your ice diving or whatever diving level you want to go to from the beginning to the end. But we start with the end goal in mind. Same with the choice of regulators. If you watched my equipment philosophy video from a few weeks ago, you'll see it's exactly the same. I said to you the same thing. I said, the end goal is when you're air sharing and exiting, right? The end goal is when you're doing your decompression. The last thing you want is the worst regulator. The last thing you want is the cheapest regulator. When there's an emergency, you want to be on the best regulator. When you're diving, you can be on any regulator. It doesn't matter, because if a dive is cut short because the regulator is so trashy and worthless, better. But the last thing you want to be is committed to 3 hours of deco only to find out that your decor pacer does not function and is not functioning. And now you're facing 3 hours of decompression. See what I'm saying? Start with the end goal in mind. Well, we proliferate this message throughout all of our courses. All of our diving philosophies based around the end goal. What is the end? What is the worst thing that could happen? Let's prepare for it now. Not do minimal preparation and hope it never happens. Wrong way of thinking. What's the end goal, and then work your way backwards towards it. And then in a building block fashion, of course, work towards it. I'm not saying that I'm going to teach my open water student how to ride a scooter, do an air share, and go through a restriction in a cave at 400 feet deep. Of course not. That's silly. But the same air share protocol that I teach him in open water is identical to the 400 foot back in the cave one. Identical. So you have one consistent, scalable skill all the way through. And that's the message with the end goal in mind. Because if you start with the end goal in mind and you work your way backwards, okay, then that's how you're going to arrive at a consistent way to get to that end goal. We did this with all of our education system. I didn't write the open water class and then write the advanced class and then write, no. I started out by writing our highest level class. At that time it was Tech 3 for open circuit. And then I worked to Tech 2. Then I worked to Tech 1. Then Tech Recreational. Then Rec 3, Rec 2, Rec 1. Recreational Class 1. And then ESM, Extreme Scuba Makeover. You understand? We started with the end goal in mind and then worked backwards. We do the same with equipment. When I designed the Z system, I didn't start with a single tank diver enjoying the kelp bed. I started with the highest level, Tech 3, multiple tanks, the whole thing. And then just took away components as I needed to arrive at our recreational configuration for the basic open water diver. But what's cool about it is that if you buy that core system and then you decide to go to the next level, you just add the component. You just add. You don't throw away what you already have. You don't get rid of what you already have. It all works. You just keep adding a piece to arrive at the highest level you want to arrive at. And that is the important part. Now, I'm not saying it's perfect because maybe your open water wing, so to speak, that carries 2 tanks doesn't work for 6 tanks. Maybe you need a bigger wing, but the wing dives exactly the same. Philosophy is the same. The way it attaches to the harness is the same. Everything's the same. It just has more capacity. And the way you use it's the same. It's consistent. See? With this end goal in mind. That's what we mean by start with the end goal in mind. In everything you do within your diving career, think like that. Don't think, oh, there's a 16 points on marketing points for this BC. I'm going to buy it and then I'll sell it 6 months down the road because I want to do something different. In UTD, if you start with the end goal in mind and then, design your path to completion, whether it be a training, start with the end goal in mind. Think, I would like to do 200-foot diving. That's Tech 2 diving. Great. What do I need? Okay, I need Tech 1. Okay, great. What do I need for Tech 1? Oh, I need to have Tech Recreational. Great. What do I need for Tech Recreational? Oh, I need to have Essentials. Great. So let me start with Essentials and then move to this and make a plan for yourself to arrive at your goal. Don't just take some class because it's on sale this weekend, such as underwater pumpkin carving. Woohoo! That's going to make me a better diver. No. Start with the end goal in mind. That's our philosophy. As always, if you have any questions for me, please email us at info@unifiedteamdiving. And as always, gang, safe diving.